Hi all, this is the build report for the Madbean sprout based on the Colorsound one knob fuzz. As I mentioned in the demo of the pedal, this is the first 1590A that I've attempted to build. 1590A is a pretty small pedal. You can see here, this is a guitar pick, and it's a small area to get a lot of wires and stuff in, so they're pretty difficult, not something that if you're new to this you'd want to take on straight away. This is a 1590B, just so you can see the difference in size. If you've got a 1590B, in comparison it's probably about half the size of that, so it's quite small. I've actually sanded off the lens of the LED in this one. Basically you just put your LED inside a little holster and then just get a sanding block and sand off the lens, and it makes the LED look a bit different. The light doesn't shoot out as it does when it's got the lens on, so that you can see there that's without the lens. And if I get one, this one does have a lens on it. You can see that it's brighter and sort of more direct, whereas this one sort of spreads out. This one spreads out a bit more, so that's what you get if you sand off the lens. You can also just rough it up with a bit of sandpaper. You don't have to sand the entire lens off, but I just took the whole thing off, so it just gives it a bit of a different look. You can also see on the front, if I just tilt it in the right angle, there's significant orange peel. This is one of the first powder coating jobs that I did, and I put it on quite heavy, which is okay if you melt it for long enough, but I also didn't put it in the oven for long enough, so it didn't cure properly. I mean, it's still rock hard, it's just got this these dimples on the finish. So yeah, if you're new to powder coating, make sure you leave it in the oven for long enough. You have to leave it in for 15 or 20 minutes after the actual powder melts. So just a tip. So the inside of one of these 1590As is it's quite a bit of a squeeze. This has only got one knob on it. I've seen people that have some intense circuitry going on the inside. I don't even know how they actually managed to fit it all in, but it's a challenge. So I found the best way to, that's my layout. You can see I've got the board up here is sort of in sideways, and it fit quite well that way actually. I don't know if I would have been able to fit it in flat. I think some of these capacitors were too big. I didn't actually originally intend to put it in a 1590A, but then I just thought, oh, what the hell, I was doing it anyway. So yeah, I managed to get it all in there, but obviously you wouldn't be using this type of capacitor if you knew you were going to be putting it into a 1590A. You want to use the small, I think the 16 volt capacitors are small, electrolytic capacitors are smaller, and obviously the box type for those, just so that you've got a bit more room. I've also got one of those compact 3-pole double throw switches that are, I'm pretty sure, intended for a PCB over the top, and then you tap into the PCB. But it actually worked out pretty well in this case because they're quite small, so it gives you a bit of extra room. I could have actually moved it down further, which I probably should have, because these two jacks are pretty close together. I'll show you if I put in a couple of guitar cables. I didn't account for where the jacks are on the inside. All I sort of measured up was the jacks, and I thought, oh yeah, that'll fit fine, and then when I put them in, I sort of saw that they were that close. It's not that much of a problem. Pretty much, it hasn't done it since I set it up, but I just got to keep an eye out for it, because if they start touching, I get this sort of feedback that comes through. You might also be able to see the pot sideways there, just to make a bit of room, because the LED is there. So I couldn't actually turn the pot around that way, otherwise the pot's going to be on top of the LED, so it's pretty close. Probably a 3mm LED might be a good idea for something this small as well. And obviously you could use an external jack if it's getting a bit tight around the top end too. Oh yeah, one other thing with the pot. I've actually got a 9mm pot. Most people don't use 9mm pots for 1590As. Because I've only got one pot, I can get away with it, but if you have more than one pot, you'd probably need to get the 9mm pots. They're even smaller, so they take up very little room. So if you've got more than one pot, you'd want to hunt down some 9mm pots to make sure that it fits properly. One other thing too with these 1590As, they're pretty light as well. Unless you've got it on a pedal board or something just to sort of hold it in place, they can slip around a bit because they're pretty light. So it's a bit of a disadvantage, unfortunately. They're so small that the guitar cables kind of move them around. If you've got a heavy duty guitar cable on both sides, it can move around. If you check out Madbean's project page, you'll see he's actually been working on some baby boards. They're made specifically to fit into 1590A enclosures. So that's it. Thanks for watching.